Last year, the U.S. State Department made an unusual request to a social network. It asked Twitter to delay maintenance that might have interrupted messages from Iranians protesting the re-election of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Twitter obliged by delaying its operation, keeping the network open, and Iranians free to tweet. Anger over the Iranian presidential election spilled into the streets, along with violence as protesters fought with Iranian security forces. So was this a Twitter moment? Did Twitter ignite the protests in Iran and abroad? Ethan Zuckerman gathers statistics on social media.
Now, a year after the fact, people have tried very, very carefully to get a count of how many people were actually Twittering from within Iran. And those estimates, the estimates that I find most reliable, range from several dozen to a couple hundred.
According to Alec Ross, the senior advisor on innovation to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, there is very little information to support the claim that Facebook or Twitter or text messaging caused the rioting or can inspire an uprising.
What I have yet to see is a piece of data, a single piece of data, a single study that says, access to information in environments of historic, intercultural, interethnic conflict has the following outcomes when overlaid with a social media strategy.
Ross does admit social networks are great communication devices, but they also create confusion.
The internet is a wildly powerful and disruptive tool. It can be used for good. It can be used for ill. It disrupts markets. It disrupts communications. It changes the way that people connect and collaborate with one another. But it's just a tool. And it's a tool used by people for a variety of different ends.
In other words, Ross says social media may have some power, but it has its limitations. With regard to the news out of Iran, this Iranian student studying in the U.S. says the social network websites at least helped get the news out about events after the election.
It's absolutely crucial for people to be able to use these websites, because otherwise a lot of the news may not have gotten out if the foreign journalists or Iranian journalists are banned or forbidden from doing their work.
Because so much of today's social media is so new, the panelists seem to offer more questions than answers about its influence on conflict and change.
What we're really interested in is when someone comes up with a novel way of thinking and framing something, not just how that quote spreads through time, but how that idea spreads through time.
But even as analysts try to understand and grasp the implications of social media, the technology keeps reinventing itself. That's especially true in developing countries, which in some cases has just leapfrogged over laptops by using their phones as computers. That according to Colin Rule, who is eBay and PayPal's first director of online dispute resolution.
And these phones are getting smarter all the time. So they can do text messaging, they can do voice communications, obviously, but they can also start to access parts of the web. And as they get more and more powerful, they'll be able to access more and more of the web. So a lot of people believe that Africa is probably going to leap over the laptop phase, the wired phase, and go straight to a wireless phase.
I think that one of the things which we all grapple with as social scientists trying to deal with this is that it's implausible that this fundamental transformation in the way people process and receive information and the way information flows, it's implausible that this doesn't matter.
George Washington University's Mark Lynch, who says these social media devices, the cell phone, the BlackBerries, the Twitter accounts, the Facebook, the text messaging, trying to understand how influential and powerful all of them are is maddeningly difficult, he says. I'm Philip Alexiou, VOA News.